Hello and welcome. You're watching News 9 Live. I'm Shweta Kothari. It's 6:30 p.m. on the clock. The top story we are tracking at this hour: politics and poverty have an inverse relationship. While poverty is an outcome of political ineptitude, politicians are anything but poor. If the data is to go by, there are more Crorepati candidates in this Lok Sabha election than ever before. There has been an increase of 43% in wealth and assets over the last 5 years for the 324 Lok Sabha candidates who are recontesting this time as per an analysis. The data has come to light from Association of Democratic Reforms or ADR, which analysed affidavits filed by the 837 candidates contesting Lok Sabha polls 2024. The average assets of 324 Member of Parliaments in 2019 was around 21.55 crore rupees. It increased significantly to 30.8 crore rupees in the past 5 years. This means that the sitting MPs made over 9 crore rupees in just 5 years. If you're wondering who are these people, here is the list of the richest people contesting Lok Sabha elections in 2024. Nakul Nath was the richest with assets worth 716 crore in phase 1 of the Lok Sabha elections 2024. He is a member of the Indian National Congress, a candidate from Madhya Pradesh. Congress's Karnataka candidate Venkataramane Gowda was the richest in phase 2. Gowda has declared income worth 622 crore rupees. Pallavi Srihanivas Dempo of the BJP, contesting from the South Goa constituency, was the wealthiest candidate in phase 3 with assets worth 1,361 crore rupees. Dr. Chandrasekhar Pemmasai of the Telugu Desam Party or the TDP was the richest candidate in phase 4 with assets exceeding worth 5,700 crore rupees. BJP's Anurag Sharma declared assets worth 212 crore, emerging as the candidate in phase 5 of the Lok Sabha elections. Naveen Jindal, the billionaire industrialist fighting for the BJP from Kurukshetra, has declared assets worth 1,241 crore rupees. He was the wealthiest in phase 6. And as far as phase 7 is concerned, Shrimoni Akali Dal nominee from Bhatinda in Punjab, Harsimrat Kaur Badal, is the richest candidate contesting the 7th and the last phase of Lok Sabha elections with assets worth 198 crore rupees. The combined wealth of the richest candidates across all the 7 phases is over 10,000 crore rupees. That's more than $1 billion held by 7 politicians only. But it's not just a few wealthy candidates. The number of Crorepati candidates, those who have an asset of more than 1 crore rupees or over, are doubled or have doubled since 2009 as per ADR. As many as 31% of the 8,337 candidates in the fray in 2024 Lok Sabha elections have assets of more than 1 crore rupees. In the BJP, the average asset per candidate is about 41.26 crore, followed by Congress Party, where assets are close to about 24.72 crore rupees per candidate. 92% of all BJP candidates are Crorepatis, while it's 89% for the Congress Party. So there is at least one section of the people who claim to have multiplied their wealth in the last 5 years and are far richer today. They are the politicians of India. And it's a matter of just a few days before we get to know the results of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, but the Indian stock markets are finding the waiting hard. With record foreign institutional investors or FIIs fleeing the bourses, the investors are jittery of the Bharatiya Janata Party win. Or is there more to it? My colleague Kartik Malhotra has details.
India's long-drawn Lok Sabha elections will finally end on 1st of June. It's a Saturday, so stock markets will be closed for trading. Exit polls come later that evening, but Even in the absence of hard data on which way voters may have exercised their franchisee, the mood on Dalal Street is quizzing. After hitting a lifetime high, breaching 23,000 points intraday on May 23rd, this entire week the stock market has slipped, and this on account of foreign investors turning net sellers. It's a sudden turn of events. In the last 2 weeks alone, bullish positions have been reversed. Foreign portfolio investors and foreign institutional investors are both cashing out. From over 2 lakh crore rupees as inflows in all of the last financial year, foreign investors have already sold more than 28,000 crore rupees in just the last 2 months of this financial year alone. The domestic institutional investors like mutual funds continue to buy, keeping markets from crashing, but that's another story. Investor nervousness is palpable in the equity market. So why exactly are foreign investors selling? Are they jittery about a BJP win, or are they apprehensive about the numbers that BJP could secure even in case of a win? Data from past elections suggests that investors like to book profits when they're unsure of the election outcome. Let's look at how Nifty 50 on counting day since 2004 general elections has fared. In 2004, Nifty slipped 12.2% on counting day as market wasn't factoring in a Congress-led UPA government to win. It took markets almost 6 months to recover. 5 years later, in 2009, Nifty jumped 17.7%. Some analysts point to India's swift recovery from the 2008 financial crisis, and India remained insulated from the US subprime crisis. Cut to 2014, the year Narendra Modi came to power in the centre for his first term. Nifty was up only 1.1%. A reason for this was that the stock market had already factored in a BJP win owing to the big Modi wave that had swept the country. Strangely, in 2019, when the BJP-led NDA government came to power for the second term, markets actually fell by almost a percentage point. Some analysts say that this was because investors who had bet on a BJP win quickly booked profits, and that led to the decline. So what's happening this time around? Market watchers say FIIs are booking profits even as brokerages are confident of a BJP win. But the devil is actually in the details. And there are 3 broad scenarios that brokerage firms will watch for and act upon. Scenario 1. If the BJP secures more than 303 seats as it did in the previous election, then that's going to result in a positive trigger and a mild rally for the markets. Scenario number 2. BJP wins more than 272 seats but less than 303 seats. This is likely to lead to disappointment and a sell-off in the Indian markets. And finally, what brokerages are calling the unlikely scenario, scenario number 3, that the BJP secures less than 272 seats. Expect heavy selling and low returns in all of 2024. Well, which way the markets will react on June 4th? We'll have to wait for the Election Commission to actually tell us. But remember, there is a Monday in between after the exit polls and before the counting day, and that could well spell volatility before actual counting.
All right, moving on now. No one likes being ill and getting admitted to the hospital, but while the process of treatment and medication and recovery is one part of the nightmare, checking out of the hospital is almost as stressful. That uneasy feeling on whether the insurance claim will be honoured or not, and the self-doubt on whether you have chosen the right cashless policy or will you have to swipe that credit card and get your insurance provider subsequently. Finally, there is some relief. Insurance regulator has asked all insurance providers to approve cashless claims within 1 hour flat and provide final authorization for discharge from the hospital within 3 hours. The circular is strongly worded. It clarifies that the policyholder should not be made to wait to be discharged from the hospital, and if there is any delay beyond 3 hours, the additional amount charged by the hospital will have to be paid by the insurer. But it's not just good news for those seeking discharge. Even in the unfortunate advent of death of the insured, the insurance provider will have to immediately process the request for claim settlement and make sure that the mortal remains are released from the hospital immediately. Now, these new rules are to be put into place by 31st of this year, or 31st of July this year. The regulator is pushing for transparency as well, which means no more powers vested in the hands of call center agents or those at the back end, which can delay patients or their families. There will now be dedicated help desks at hospitals to ensure cashless requests are honoured in a time-bound fashion. In a proactive mode, insurance regulator and regulatory as well as Development Authority of India, which is IRDAI, is also now set to introduce a more diverse range of health insurance products and add-ons that seek to cover all age groups of potential patients, multiple regions, varied occupation and a wide scope of treatment for those seeking it. We hope you wouldn't have to use any of these services, but should you need to, your insurance settlement experience is likely to get better starting 31st of July. And India has written history in space prowess today. A Chennai-based space startup, Agnikul Cosmos, has successfully launched world's first 3D printed rocket into the space in its 5th attempt. How significant is the launch and what does it mean for India's space ambitions? Listen in.
It takes 2 minutes to make instant noodles, and guess what? That's roughly the same time taken by India to script history in space. Chennai-based space startup Agnikul Cosmos successfully launched a rocket, a mission that lasted just over 2 minutes from its launch to splashdown in the Bay of Bengal. This was the company's first ever successful rocket launch after 4 failed attempts previously. And the Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO, took to social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, to congratulate Agnikul Cosmos and called it a major milestone. And that's because it is indeed an achievement, not just for the company, but for the country as a whole in the development of indigenous space technology. This rocket was called Agniban Sorted, SORTED, standing for Agniban Suborbital Technological Demonstrator. And this rocket marked many firsts for India's space technology sector. Agniban Sorted is the first rocket to be launched from a private launch pad in India. The rocket took off from the launch pad of Agnikul Cosmos, which is located within the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. Notably, this startup runs India's first private launch pad and mission control center as well, while all other launch pads are operated by ISRO. The Agniban Sorted rocket is fueled by India's first semi-cryogenic engine, an engine which uses a mix of liquid and gas for propellants. Now, you might imagine how using a particular engine for a launch is an important milestone, and that's because the Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO, has not yet successfully flown a semi-cryogenic engine in a rocket. And that was done this time around by a private player in India's space sector. The rocket was powered by the world's first single-piece 3D printed engine, which has been designed and built right here in India. The successful rocket launch is a testament to the power of homegrown Indian space technologies. Founded in the year 2017 by Srinath Ravichandran, Moin and S.R. Chakravarti, a professor from IIT Madras, Chennai-based space startup Agnikul was incubated at IIT Madras. It became the first Indian company to sign an agreement with ISRO in December 2020. Under that agreement, the company got unprecedented access to ISRO's expertise and cutting-edge facilities. Not just that, the company is also one of the highest funded space startups in India. It has raised $42 million so far. Agnikul Cosmos is targeting the multi-billion-dollar small satellite launch market. And the successful launch of Agniban Sorted will lay the foundation for its ambitions going forward.
And moving on, have booming car sales come to a screeching halt? Are Indians finally quitting buying four-wheelers? Sounds unbelievable, But after a record 3-year run, when last year alone India bought close to 40 lakh cars, data from car dealers now suggests that it's not customers lining up to buy cars, but cars from the factory lining up at warehouses. India's booming auto sector is now staring at a looming inventory stockpile. Reports suggest that by the end of this month, the number of unsold vehicles sitting in dealerships could exceed a staggering 4 lakh units. Now that's estimated to be about 44,000 crore rupees worth of inventory. What's driving this new phenomena after years of post-COVID demand for passenger vehicles, and is it too early to call it a trend just as yet? Well, a combination of factors seems to have led to the sharp decline in demand. First, there's the election-related uncertainty, so prospective buyers want to perhaps wait it out for the next budget to be presented before making a buying decision. Then the end of the season, where numbers in any case raced ahead of overdrive. And the heat wave affecting key markets like Delhi NCR, where people are deferring visiting showrooms and taking the cars for a test drive. Finally, there's also hope that with inflation coming under control, a rate cut cycle may finally kick in that could reduce interest rates and subsequent EMIs. Registration of passenger vehicles are projected to now decline 5% in the month of May compared to same month last year. But automakers are still pushing out vehicles to dealers at a rate that exceeds market expectation and market demand, and that is what is causing the inventory stockpile. Dealers are offering deep discounts, or could potentially also look at deep discounts to offload inventory, and it cannot be ruled out. So those waiting in the wing to buy that swanky new car, this might well be a good time to negotiate and snatch a good deal. But some auto companies are now opting for planned shutdowns to tame production volumes. Can the auto market make a U-turn and return to its high growth phase? Well, several factors can positively influence the trend going forward. One could be political instability. A good monsoon, rising rural income could also stimulate the market. And the festival season around Diwali would also mean the end of this minor speed bump in the auto sales. And while the year gone by was all about SUVs, automaker and leader Maruti Suzuki is expecting a return of the hatchbacks in 2 years' time. While the government, if it comes back to power, will push for electric vehicles, hybrids and flex fuels. So which car are you planning to buy? Write to us and let us know. And staying on with Delhi, a 40-year-old man from Bihar's Darbhanga has died due to fatal heat stroke at Delhi's Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital. The man's body temperature had soared past 107 degrees Celsius at the time of his death. He is the first casualty of heat in Delhi, and he may not be the last. If you're suffering in Delhi heat, you're not alone. Large parts of northern and central India have now been roasting under extreme heat wave for a while. On 29th of May, temperatures soared past staggering 50 degrees Celsius. The worst hit states were Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, UP, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Tamil Nadu. Now this isn't just a one-off event. Extreme heat is becoming more frequent and intense, making it harder to go about with the daily lives. But while many of you have got air conditioners to cool you down, that's not the case with casual laborers working in factories, mines, construction sites and brick kilns. With the mercury touching new highs, the Union Ministry of Labour and Employment has now issued an advisory to all states and union territories to safeguard the health and wellness of workers. So what are these measures? To begin with, rescheduling of working hours for employees and workers in different sectors, ensuring adequate drinking water facility at workplaces, making provision for emergency ice packs and heat illness prevention material to construction workers, coordinating with the health department to ensure regular health checkups of the workers, and ensuring adherence to the health advisory issued by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare for employers as well as workers. The Indian Meteorological Department has also issued a red alert across several states but anticipates some relief from heat wave after 30th of May. However, the pressing question remains, how many Indians are succumbing to the heat wave? According to the latest data from the National Centre of Disease Control, India has so far recorded 60 heat-related deaths since 1st of March this year. Across the country, 32 people have died due to heat stroke. Government data also revealed that on May 22nd alone, 2 people in Andhra Pradesh and Rajasthan's Kota died of suspected heat stroke. So what exactly is a heat wave and what really causes it? And more importantly, how can we prepare ourselves to handle the scorching weather? A heat wave is a prolonged period of extremely hot weather, much hotter than the usual in a region and a time of year. These high temperatures can seriously impact health, causing exhaustion, heat stroke, and even death in severe cases. Experts say that heat waves are caused by 2 main factors. First is the El Niño, a weather pattern that warms up water in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, leading to extreme heat worldwide. Second is the high pressure systems over the southern peninsula and the southeastern coastal areas that trap warm air near the surface and block cooling sea breezes, making nights hotter than usual. With India grappling with such unusually high temperatures this summer, it is utmost important to take proper precautions and avoid serious health risk. So first, avoid going out in the sun. But if you must, make sure you grab that umbrella and carry a water bottle with you. And with that, we've come to this end of the show. Thank you for watching.
वो पूछते हैं कि हम कौन है गालिब, तुम बतलाओ कि हम बतलाएं क्या।